Going to go live, please. It's buffering. Should be live now. What's up, Talos of Tech? How's it doing? It's a Tuesday at 10 a.m. You should know that unless you have a lacking of an Apple Watch in your tech ecosystem. Mine says 10 o'clock. I try to start it right on the dime, but I'm sure not everyone gets here right on the dime. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? I know I've got quite an ocean of comments based on my last video. You like the iPhone 8? What? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you telling everyone to skip it? Well, because demand for the 10 needs to be as low as possible. If anyone who actually can't afford it wants to get it, and I probably should have called out some YouTubers to be like, hey, can we go easy on the drop tests this year? Like, can't you just buy a regular iPhone 8 and drop that and assume that the 10 is the same way? Because it's ridiculous when everyone's trying to get the iPhone 10 and it's delayed months and months and months and months. You can't get it till next year if you don't pre-order it at midnight. And if that's the case, then it's like, please don't buy 5 different iPhone 10s just so you can drop them in water or drop them on concrete, please. Yes, you can buy Talos of t-shirts. Not in the description of this video, but on the description of every other video. In the links, one of the first links that you can see is buy Apple Sheep merchandise here, and one of the other ones is buy Talos of merchandise there. We got all kinds of merchandise. Hey, Apple fan, thank you for your first super chat of the day. How's everyone doing? Watching in split screen on iOS 11 iPad. I am loving this. Congratulations, Joe the Hoovian. Great. How's that Series 3 treating you? It's been awesome, honestly. I've loved being able to leave the phone at home sometimes. I just did it last night when I went on a mountain bike ride with my dad. I just left the phone at the office, went on the bike ride, could still stay connected. I was still getting texts. I was still talking to people. And it's just so freeing not to have your phone on you at 100% of the time. It's very nice. Why not working? I'm going to tell people if it's not working, just refresh because that fixes 99% of the YouTube's live streams problems. How many hours for one videos? What? How many hours for one video? Watching on split screen on my phone. Ooh, Noah's bringing up that Android has that. Oh, this is not yet another live stream about MKBADHD. Oh God, there's too many. Well, if you ask about them, obviously, I can talk about them. I'm in class, but I'm here just to say hi, and I love the new set, and I hope you can review the iPhone 8 and 10. Well, I've reviewed the 8. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. But a lot of people I wanted to talk about in this live stream until there's super chat questions or just general questions. That a lot of people were unhappy or dissatisfied with my opinions on the iPhone 8 because, well, it wasn't necessarily the fact that I liked the 8. I think more people were just upset that I compared it to the S8 and said that I thought the enhancements you got from iPhone 7 to 8 were more noticeable than that of the S7 to S8. A lot of people disagreed with that statement. I completely understand it. I don't disagree. I do disagree with it because I do feel that everything I say in my videos, I do believe. I do find that upgrading from the 7 to the 8 is a more noticeable upgrade than the S7 to the S8 because all I admitted was that, you know, once you get used to the display, that's the big thing, right? From the S7 to the S8, the big new change is the fact that the display is larger. That's cool and all. It looks great. You know, it's got curved corners, it's got curved edges, minimal bezels. It's still got a little bit of a chin and a forehead, but for the most part, giant display, huge bezel to body ratio. It's wonderful. So once you get used to that, though, doesn't really change the way you use your phone. I mean, you're still pressing the home button in the same place. You got multitasking and back buttons in the same place. And I brought out that, you know, when they did that, they put the fingerprint reader in an awkward position in the back where, like, no one wants to use it. Even major YouTubers will admit that that's not a good place for the fingerprint reader. If you are going to put it on the back, at least did what the Google Pixel did or the LG V30 did. Like, that's a more ergonomically correct space. So even non-Apple Sheep YouTubers can agree that that's kind of an odd place for the fingerprint reader, and it's a sacrifice for making the display larger. And then at the same time, they made the Bixby button, which could not be rerouted until just recently. So for months and months and months, you had to use this digital assistant that had a dedicated button that I actually set off quite often when I had my S8. I definitely think that button shouldn't be there. Or at least now, it took them long enough, you can reroute it to other things. But still, I thought it was dumb that Samsung, like, required it to be Bixby and nothing else. That they gave a whole button just to that. And if the whole point of Bixby is to be, you know, a digital assistant that can do everything you can do on the phone with a touch interface, then it's like, well, if it can do that, why put a button on it? Because you're supposed to be able to not have to touch the phone to use Bixby. Anyway, so I was just saying that the entire appeal of the S8 was the screen and not much else. They didn't change much else. It's not like you gained wireless charging. You already had wireless charging. You still have a headphone jack on this one, so that didn't change. There's no stereo speakers. You already had expandable storage, so that didn't change. You put in the iris scanner. I'm not a fan of it just because you have to hold it so specifically. I can't get it to like work so seamlessly. I think his Face ID will work. And they did put face recognition on the S8, and I think a lot of people confuse Face ID and face recognition on the Galaxy phones to be the same thing. Really not the same thing at all. You know, the face recognition on the S8 is basically using what like Facebook uses to auto-detect faces. Like those two faces are the same. Whereas Apple created, you know, like 3D mapping of people's faces, so you can't trick it. It's a million to one. Anyway, Apple fans, what do you think about the exposed videos on you? I've only seen one, but they're hilarious. I love them. I love being exposed by other YouTubers, even if they're wrong, and most of the time they are, or at least from my perspective they're wrong. I think it's hilarious. I love seeing people like get mad at me and make videos about me. It's very entertaining. Please keep it up. If you know how to make videos and you have your own YouTube channel and you disagree with me, point me out in a video. I love seeing that. What happened to the battery life on the iPhone 7 Plus iOS 11 problem? Will it be fixed? I'm sure it will be, but well, my girlfriend now has my iPhone 7 Plus, and I don't think she's had any noticeable battery problems. She hasn't commented on that. Oh, Taylor of Gaming is in the chat, listening while I do yard work on my product red iPhone 7 Plus with AirPods. Congratulations, Gaming. I'm assuming this is Xander. You have a weird sense of humor? Yes, I do. I very much do. Any sense of humor that is not like yours is technically weird. So it makes sense that some hick in Oroville, California doesn't have the same sense of humor as most of the world. Apple is forcing USB-C. Samsung is forcing Bixby. Well, they're not forcing it if they don't put it on their iPads and iPhones or AirPods or Apple TV remote. But I see your point. Kinda. Don't have a YouTube channel, but I think your video on the LG V30 was misleading. What could have been misleading about it? Let me see. Well, people were just asking for my thoughts on the LG V30. You see, I like to. Here's kind of the method I try to apply to when reviewing phones. Is that I try to get the unboxing out first. So I go to the Apple Store as early as I can, get back as fast as I can, so I can unbox the iPhone and Apple Watch before everyone else. But I don't want to be the first person to review it. I kind of like watching other channels review these phones and other channels talk about what they like and don't like. That way I know how to not be redundant to you guys, because I consider I'm not the only tech channel you watch. I'm assuming you're also watching Austin Evans or Everything Apple Pro or Unbox Therapy or MKBHD. You're watching a ton of other tech YouTubers, and I try to watch their reviews first so that I say, okay, here's some things I don't need to talk about. Here's some things that I don't need to say because everyone's already saying them. And with my iPhone 8 review in particular, I was kind of like, everyone's saying the same thing. This phone is okay, but it's too similar to the 7, so wait for the 10. Everyone's kind of been echoing that throughout the tech reviews. And I just wanted to admit that, you know what? I've noticed an enhanced experience with the iPhone 8. I think the display is better. No, it's not a larger display, but I don't think that fans of smartphones should rely on the screen size of phones changing to be considered a worthy upgrade. Because if you didn't realize it, once over this next 10 years we start removing bezels, phones from year to year to year, their upgrades are not going to be very significant. Especially if we're removing bezels at the rate we are now. 10 years from now, all phones will have 0 bezels. And it's all just going to be about the software anyway. And so don't rely on your phone upgrades to be entirely about, is the screen bigger? Is the bezel smaller? Because that's not going to hold up. You can do that right now, you know, with the S7 to the S8 upgrade. They're like, bezels are smaller, it's great. You can do that now. 5-6 years down the road, you won't be able to dictate a good phone upgrade by the amount of bezels that were lost. That's just not going to be the way you continue to upgrade phones. It's going to be about features, usability, and the quality of those screens. And I admit that on the iPhone 8, the True Tone display is a noticeable improvement. The coloring on it, the saturation of colors, I don't care that it's not OLED. It still looks great. Whatever it's made of doesn't matter to me because it looks good. And more importantly, I like iOS, which is what is on that screen. Anyway, Super Chat here from Anman says, just wanted to drop in, say how much I, as well as most everyone here, appreciate all of the effort and time you put into all of your stuff. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Apple CPU 9. Do you think you will get the iPhone 10 on November 3rd? I'm definitely going to try. I'm not going to guarantee anything because I know how low in stock these things are and how low in high in demand these things are. But I will be up at midnight on October 27th, refreshing the Apple Store page. I've already got the iPhone favorited in the Apple Store app, so it's already set aside. So as soon as it's available, I'm just going to go straight to my favorites, go to pre-order, go to in-store pickup. I'm going to get it as fast as possible. I can't guarantee it'll be on the 3rd. Definitely going to try to, though. Pixel reaction stream tomorrow. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about that. I know that might be kind of redundant, though, because we usually do live streams Tuesday and Thursday, and the Pixel event is on a Wednesday. I know a lot of people have tweeted at me and just contacted me to say they really want me to live stream my reaction to the Pixel event because I would just be so mean. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of boring. Google Keynotes have kind of this history of not being very eventful. They kind of just like, I remember the Pixel event last year. It was kind of awkward and cringy. Like the guy talked about Google Daydream and like dropped the remote as he was talking about it. And it's like, it's a remote, dude. You can't hold on to a remote. Or it's like, my killer thing was that Google doesn't like to announce something in an epic way. Like when Apple announces the new iPhone 10, like all the lights go out and then we cut to a video and it's like really, really close up of the screen going all the way to the edge. And then it zooms out and you slowly see this awesome reveal of the iPhone 10. At the Pixel event, they just literally clicked the next slide, and then there was just a JPEG image of the two new Pixels. And it's the image of the Pixel we already saw. It was leaked a week before, so I was just like, okay, there's your phone. It's like, they're not very proud or excited about the new hardware, so why should we be? That's why I'm not that terribly, excited for it. The section is under gaming. Oh no, this ruins everything. There, let me turn it to science and technology. There we go. Okay. Apple Watch as well. It sucks, but isn't an original one, so I need it. Broke my Apple Watch as well. But is an original one, so I need an upgrade anyway. Have you seen how much a screen repair is on your dad's? Yeah, sadly, it's almost impractical to get a screen repair on your Apple Watch when it's out of warranty. So when you buy an Apple Watch, whether or not you get Apple Care, you get a year of like supported warranty, as in they'll fix it or replace it. However, since that Series 2 is now over a year old, when I contacted Apple about it, they were like, sorry, it's out of warranty, but we can fix it or replace it depending on how bad the damage is. And they were anticipating it to be around $200 for it out of warranty. And I was like, well, for $200, we're so close to being able to afford a brand new Apple Watch. Why go through Apple or why ask for a repair? We contacted a couple different places about repair, like, third-party places at like a mall. One guy said he could do it and then never got back to me. Like he never responded his messages. So that was frustrating. But what my dad has done is gotten like a bumper case for his watch so that if he does drop it again on concrete or whatever, just because he's at work a lot, it won't break it. It's just kind of this rubber thing. And it actually kind of covered up the front bezel of the watch. And it made the crack on the Series 2 like very, very hard to see. It's not noticeable at all. So he didn't fix it. So he's definitely not going to take it in water anymore. If you crack your Apple Watch screen, definitely keep it away from water. That completely disqualifies its IP water resistance. But yeah, he made it very hard to see. As in, with the bumper case on it, you can barely tell that it was scratched up. So he's fine with it. He's not going to complain. It still works. I mean, the screen is fine. It didn't crack over the display. It was just in one corner. So he's fine with it. He doesn't mind. Xbox Gorilla says, how do you see replacing Apple in electronics? Do you see replacing Apple? What do you mean? Replacing Apple in electronics. What do you mean by that? You mean like, how could another company compete with Apple? Is that what you're asking? I apologize if I can't understand your your question. It sounds interesting. I can't really figure out what you mean by that. I'm gonna look for your name in the chat here so you can kind of elaborate on that. Have you seen Samsung fans write in the comments Samsung better than Apple without any valid points? Yeah, but I've seen the exact opposite. People go, iOS better than Android, and then they leave the video. So there's people without evidence on both sides of the argument. Like, I've seen comments on videos that Apple is better or Samsung is better, and then they leave, and then everyone just likes the comment, and then it has 300 likes on some popular video. It's like, shut up. Don't do that. He means who? Yes, who do you see replacing Apple in electronics? Well, personally, no one right now. I don't think any company is actually doing what Apple is doing. And in fact, no one's actually attempting to attack Apple. I mean, they attempt to attack the iPhone, or someone attempts to attack the MacBook. You know, like Android is all about, like, you know, let's steal users from iOS because it's the most popular brand. And then Microsoft is like, let's steal the MacBook user base or the iPad user base. But I've yet to see a company actually match the ecosystem that Apple has created with their own software and hardware. And no one is fighting Apple in the same way Apple is fighting everyone else. You know, Apple designs their software and hardware inside and out, all the way down to a watch, all the way up to an iMac, you know, like, and everything in between. Phones, tablets, laptops, headphones, everything. And they cover the software on everything, and they make all the hardware. No one else is doing that. You know, you've got companies like Samsung that make something in every field. They make watches and TVs and laptops, but they're not designing the software on each one. They're not making an ecosystem that works in the same way. It's no one's really fighting Apple that way. So I can't put a name on it and say this person could kill Apple. If anything kills Apple, it would be like a collective force of the competition being too strong. So like Android's phones get really good, and then they start partnering with Microsoft too closely, so that once they do that, they can cooperate much easier and have things like AirDrop, and then Apple can't compete in that way. But no, I don't see a company right now that could actually kill Apple, because if you're talking people wanting to be a team player in the tech industry, Apple's the only team. There's not really another team that does as much as Apple does. So until that happens, you can't really say which is going to beat anyone. All right, Carl Rid says, I have iPhone 6 and want to get a 10 Space Gray 64. I want to enroll on the iPhone upgrade program. Do you think they will have less stock for the IUP? Yeah, you know, the iPhone upgrade program, I know a couple people who have said that. They're like, well, I can't afford the 10 outright, so I'll get the upgrade program right when the 10 is available. I personally think your odds of getting that to work are really low, but that's because I know very little about it. And I just know that the iPhone upgrade program probably takes a little bit longer to set up if you don't have one already. And I personally don't know how it works if you have the upgrade program. And you're saying you're not in the program yet. So all the best luck to you, but you're going to be having to tap a lot more than everyone else at midnight, which, as I've mentioned, every second is going to count when that happens. You know, refreshing that page, trying to tap the configuration you want and the carrier you want it from, trying to hit checkout and enter your Apple Pay information as fast as possible. It's going to be a rush. It's going to be a mad race for everyone. And trying to do it through the upgrade program is just going to slow you down even further. So all I can admit is good luck. I don't know if I don't think that stock for the iPhone is going to be any more or less for the upgrade program. It seems to be stock as just stock, as in the people who are picking it up in stores have just as much a chance of getting it delivered on November 3rd. So it's not like you can get it faster if you go to the store opposed to waiting for it to ship to you. It's completely random. Everyone is grabbing from the same pile of iPhones. So I'm just saying it really lessens your likelihood of getting it on November 3rd. Maybe you'll get it soon if you upgrade to the iPhone upgrade program as soon as that's available, but I don't know. I'm really not the guy to... Excuse me, sorry. I'm really not the guy to ask about the upgrade program because I don't like to pay for things monthly. I like to just buy it and say, it is mine. There, I've purchased it. I can say there's no payments on it. That's how I like to buy things, whereas the upgrade program is kind of like owning it month to month, and then you have to turn it in every year. You don't get to keep it. So I can't get into that. Okay, next super chat says, hello, I'm 16 from Hong Kong. I don't have much money. I'm a huge fan of yours. I hope my donation helps. What do you think about the 3-gen mouse and keyboard? Well, thank you for your donation, even though you don't have that much to donate. And again, just by watching the videos, you are donating your time, and that in return helps me. Watching those crappy ads, or if you have YouTube Red, just watching my videos at all helps me. The watch time is a help, so I appreciate anyone's time. All 256 of you, wow, that's a lot of people. You're all helping, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. So all I can really think of for the 3rd generation mouse and keyboard is that they should support Qi wireless charging. That way you can have AirPower next to your Mac, and you can just drop your keyboard and mouse on the Qi charger or on your AirPower, and it charges there. That way you don't have to have that awkward lightning plug in them. Also, get people away from Lightning, Apple, as much as possible. Switch away from that. Make sure that you pre-order in the Apple Store app and not the website. Check out with fingerprint, quick and easy. Sadly, I can't do the fingerprint, so as much as I would like to, I can't. But yes, I know that the Apple Store app is faster than the website. And just like I pre-ordered the watch and the phone, and I got that on launch day right away, I will do the same thing with the iPhone X. I will be using the app, of course. Sup, Drew, can you show us the collection of boxes? Oh, there's a lot. That'll take a while. But I can tell you the most recent addition is the 8 box. I like this box. I like that the color of the gray is slightly different than the glass. And there were a lot of people on Instagram that were actually frustrating me. They were opening these up and then putting their iPhone in backwards so that the front was facing up. That's not how it unboxed. But they wouldn't like take the plastic off. They would just flip it over and act like that's how it was boxed. Wasn't boxed like that. Fake news when it comes to iPhone unboxing. It would honestly take too long to go over all of them. And there's about 30 more boxes in the closet back there that are not on display. So there's a ton of Apple boxes I have, and obviously every year that collection just grows and grows. Will you give Louise your 8 Plus? No, I'm selling it to her. I could give it to her, but that would be a bit harsh on the business. Plus, Louise doesn't like to be given things for free. She wants to pay for things fair and square. So I respect that. She'll be buying the 8 Plus, and the guy who donated that massive donation during the keynote stream is getting a regular iPhone 8. He messaged me after the fact and said, I don't actually want the Plus. I want the smaller one. Can you give me that one? So I'll be selling Louise. It's going to be like a big magical, what do you call it, musical hats moment when I get the 10. It's like Louise gets 8 Plus, Henrik gets 8. Xander might be buying the 7 Plus. I don't know. Like, it's all over the place. Where phones are going are all over the place. If you were to travel by ship, would you fail your portless challenge? It may be awkward, but no, because wherever you can plug in a lightning cable, you can plug in a wireless charger, so I might just do that. It would be kind of awkward, but I would like to try to do it. What if Apple improves the lightning cable and it competes with USB-C? Well, I mean, they did improve it. You know, if you saw the 9 to 5 Mac video on how much fast charging is faster than, you know, like the iPad brick, that's what I used to have. I don't use it now, obviously, but before I was using wireless charging, I was using my iPad brick to charge my iPhone. I had like 5-10 iPad bricks everywhere. They weren't, I didn't ever use the little 5-watt lightning ones. I had a ton of them, but I don't use them. I use the big 10 or 12-watt ones. When I plugged that in, it charged really fast, and I was fine with it, and I just did that because I had them. It wasn't because I liked fast charging. It was just they were available. And when I charged that way, worked just fine. I did, and then what I noticed in the 9 to 5 Mac video is that getting the USB-C charger, which is of course way more money, charges like an extra 5% faster, like than just the regular iPad. So it's not terribly faster in terms of battery charging. It's not like getting the USB-C. It's like they've made this monstrously fast. It's like a little bit faster than what we already had. So, it's portless. That's the joke. On a ship. Oh my God. Did I miss that joke? I'm so sorry. That's okay. Sorry, I would have noticed a joke. That wasn't a joke, though. That was just something you said. Anyway, Jacob donated, says, which channel is your favorite? Which content do you like the most creating? Ooh, that's a good one. Probably the main channel. I feel like that's pretty underrated. And the Talks channel are really fun. Because I like on Taylosive Talks, I get to make stuff that is just kind of about me or about any topic I want. And the main channel is also really fun because, just the one Taylosive. That's where all my YouTube videos started, making sketches and making movies. Not necessarily tech videos or movie reviews, just like skits, like actual performances and acting. I really like that channel. I wish I had more time to work on that. I'm still trying to get a Saturday short in every Saturday, so there's still content coming up on that channel fairly regularly, but yeah, I wish I had more time for it. What do you think the next big tech thing will be after no bezels? I don't think it'll be smartphones, to be honest. I think smartphone companies are running out of ideas quickly, and we're already starting to see that. The fact that they're focusing on making phones look pretty by removing bezels, and that's really all they can do. The fact is that doesn't change the way you use your phone. It's not really a feature. It's just kind of, it looks nice. It's not a functional use. So after you remove bezels, they're going to really run into a wall of like, what more can we add to our phone? I think in the next 7-8 years, you're going to start to see people really not see the point in upgrading their phone every year. They're going to run out of ideas. They're going to run out of aesthetics to add. Once you've completely eliminated the bezel and displays are 100% of the front of the phone, where do you go from there? What more can you add? Cameras can shoot at 8K. It's looks even better. HDR is even better. Like, you run out of things to do. And I think the next big thing in tech is more likely going to be how car companies start making electric vehicles, or how they make gas vehicles smarter, or how they make more efficient vehicles, and how they make starting autonomous vehicles, as the laws for that are now being granted pretty quick. And soon cars will have a whole new revolution of what they're capable of and how we can implement smart computers into them. That's where I'm seeing the next big revolution starting to form. I think we're just starting to see the start of the car big innovation. Okay, Jacob donated, says, are you excited to get your hands on the iMac Pro? As I've said multiple times, iMac Pro is not a for sure thing. It's a maybe thing. I'm really trying, and yes, of course, I'm terribly excited because I think, man, unboxing iMacs has happened very few times in my life. But like, unboxing an iMac is like an apple sheep's rite of passage. It's like you become a man once you unbox an iMac. No. It's very exciting, but especially to unbox something that's like unique because you can only get the space gray in that color. Also something with so much Xeon processor, so fast, crazy amount of RAM, amazing display. A lot of people made the joke, like when I was talking about how I don't think 8K is very useful. People were making the joke that like Apple did 5K and you were fine with that. It's like, you obviously have not been watching this channel very long, have you? Because if you don't recall, before the 5K iMac came out, I said I want iMac to adopt a 4K display because that's the new standard, 3840 by 2160. That's what everyone's moving towards. Then the keynote happened and it was like, now we have a 5K display, not a 4K display. They didn't announce the 4K iMac originally. It was just a 5K one. And I was like, that's a lot. I don't think that's necessary. And then my friend bought a 5K iMac. I didn't get one, but my friend did. And just watching content on that and watching programs on that, I was like, this is too much, honestly. There's so many pixels to work with here that whatever you watch on it, it kind of looks like crap because nothing really can play back at 5K. And if you want the 4K stuff, obviously you have to pay extra for it, whether it be from Google Play or from iTunes now or Netflix. And keep in mind, back when the 5K iMac came out, those weren't really things yet. You couldn't get 4K content from iTunes or Google Play. If Netflix could do it back then, it was very new and not a lot of people knew about it. But I just remember my friend watching Netflix on the 5K iMac and it not really looking 5K. It was still 1080p. So it's just like, you're paying for all these pixels. What are you really getting out of it? It's a lot of pixels that I thought was a bit overkill. Anyway, yes, I'd be very, very excited to get my hands on the iMac Pro. It completely depends on the amount of donations we get and the amount of success the channel sees to as whether or not we will get the iMac Pro. We don't know. Hardik says, do you think MacBook Pro is useful if I have iPad 10.5 inches? Okay, so if you need the extra processing power and you need the software supported on a desktop, like for me, I needed Final Cut Pro, I needed Adobe Premiere and After Effects and Photoshop, and I also like to do a little bit of gaming. Like I dual boot Windows 10 on here sometimes if I want to run Steam games that aren't supported on Mac. So I have all those options with the MacBook that I can't do on an iPad. But if you're just talking about consuming media, writing emails, writing documents, like school use, like writing essays or making PowerPoints and stuff like that, you don't need a whole laptop for that. If you're just watching videos and Netflix, iPad is fine. But if you need that extra processing power, that extra gaming power, like iPads don't have fans. MacBook Pro has two big fans that really crank up when you're exporting stuff. That's what it's good for. When do you think Apple Pay Cash will be released? Yeah, really. That's why I didn't do much of a video about iOS 11 is available now, because first of all, I had it for 3 months. Second of all, my two favorite features about iOS 11 are still not available. Like, I wanted iCloud messages so that it was more like Facebook Messenger and all of your data for messages is stored in the cloud, not locally. And the next big thing I was excited for was being able to messages pay people with Apple Pay or having Apple Pay Cash. Neither of those are available yet, so that's why I wasn't that excited about it. When? Of course, it's impossible. They said before the end of the year, so I don't know. There's kind of your time frame. I would like to say that it would be available before the 10 comes out. That would be kind of nice. So maybe early November, like right around when the iPhone 10 is available. But yeah, it's impossible to know. That's where I would guess, early November. Jacob donated once again. Thank you very much. Says, do you feel like HomePod is a game changer? It's cool. I'm really excited to use it. I'll definitely be getting one. I'm really excited to hear how good the sound quality is for how small a device it is, because that's what everyone's been talking about it. Though it's not really a game changer because Amazon's been doing this for a few years now. They just updated their lineup of Echo products, so now you've got way more affordable speakers that do all this new stuff. Really cool, but I don't think the HomePod is a game changer necessarily. I think it'll sell well. I think all Apple sheep are going to buy one anyway because it has AirPlay 2 and it's going to sound really nice and it has Siri built in, but it's not like Siri blows away the competition in terms of digital assistants. But yeah, it kind of feels ridiculous to have Siri on another device when we already have her on watch, Mac, TV, phone, tablet. Like, do we really need another platform for Siri? I don't think so, but I'm more excited for the sound, more excited for the sound quality of it, not necessarily the smartness of it. Okay, HomePod preferred color, and is it a game changer? I've mentioned this several times. I can't decide. Both the black HomePod look good and the white HomePod, so I'm going to leave it up to you. If you don't yet, you should follow me on Twitter. When the HomePod is available or near being available, I will do a Twitter poll of should I get the white or the black one, and whichever one gets the most votes, I'll buy that one. I leave it entirely up to you. Same way it was with the Apple Watch. I asked everyone if they wanted silver or space gray. 75% of you voted for space gray, so that's what we did. Okay. Jason Ong, thank you for your donation, says, I have an iPhone SE. Should I buy the 8 or buy the 7? I don't always do pictures that much, but the iPhone 8 does seem more refined. It definitely is, and I would recommend the 8 just for the wireless charging capabilities so that if down the road, if you have a better financial situation, you can afford AirPower. That way you can have a watch later and you can get the AirPods. But thank you for asking if it should be the 7 or the 8 without bringing up the 10. We need more people like Jason. 10 needs to be lower in demand. But yeah, I mean, the 7's still a good buy if you want to save some money. What you could consider is that if you buy a 7, you can use your leftover money for an Apple Watch, which would be nice. But yeah, if we're talking which is the better buy, I'm always going to recommend the 8 just because it's more future-proof. Camera quality is much better. It's going to last you a lot longer than last year's iPhone. In that wireless charging capability, please partake in the portless challenge. It's very, very nice. Lots of people are doing it with me, and they're really enjoying it from the feedback I've been getting. I haven't got a lot of comments saying, doing the portless challenge, it's so hard, this is so frustrating. A lot of people are like, this is really nice. Everywhere I go, just drop it. It's nice. Okay, Jacob donated. Thank you very much. Says, where did you get your iPhone 5C from the old office? I've had mine for 4 years. It's legendary and ugly. Oh, where did you put your iPhone 5C? Okay, well, first of all, I never had a 5C. I have one now that doesn't work that well, but my sister had one, and now she has a newer phone, so she doesn't need it. So I just collect old tech. It's in the closet back there. I have a big box. If you want, I could bring it out and just go through everything that's in there. I have a big box full of old Apple stuff. Yeah, the iPhone 7 is much cheaper now. Please do your next Tailosive live in a... No, that will not happen. I will get iPhone 10 pretty easily because here in India, there's not much India. In India, there isn't much India. Well, I know what you mean. You're probably saying that like not that many people have a demand for it there. I hope that's the case. But keep in mind, overall, in terms of all countries, it's low in supply. They don't have a lot of them to sell. So please, if you anticipate on getting it, be up at midnight. You know, don't try to get it the next day or a week later because it's gonna be very low. As long as the front is black, then anything would do. Bring it out, please. I don't like iMac. I use Cinema Display. I hate giant chin. Oh, that's completely reasonable. Veneer Drone and Tech. Thank you for your donation. Yeah, I can totally see it. I don't understand. Like a lot of people, like in the Discord, brought up that like the aluminum chin of the iMac allows you to move it without touching the glass part, so you don't smudge it up. So I like that, and I don't think that people buy iMacs based upon their insanely decent looks. I mean, they look great. It's really cool that Apple can make them thin, and I love the space gray look, but it's not like people are like, well, I could get this iMac, but this one has thinner bezels. I don't think that's why they would design it. People don't, like the new MacBook Pro has thinner bezels than the 2015 MacBook Pro, but that doesn't mean people buy the 15 MacBook Pro. Like, they go in for the specs and the features. So that's why you're not seeing Apple remove many bezels in the... Okay, Randy Barnes says bring out the box. I'll go get it. Give me 1 second. It's in the closet back here. Get the box full of old Apple stuff out. Here it is. I guess it's not terribly large. What do we got in here? Jeez, I'm destroying it. Okay. Here's the box. Full of Apple stuff. Thank you, Randy, for your donation. Okay, so... Where did the 5C go? I thought it was in here. We have an iPhone 4. We have an old iPod Touch 4G. We have an iPhone 5. iPod Nano 3G. Yes, I remember the names. iPod Nano 6G. Even a iPod Classic here. It's 160 gigabytes, but this one was before they switched to solid state. They actually put spinning hard drives in this. So when you fire it up, you can actually hear the drives on it. Here's the Generation 0 Apple Watch that doesn't work anymore because it was dropped, but I still have it. I have some old watch bands I don't use. I have a 5C case. Someone must be using the 5C right now. I think I let someone borrow it. Yeah, my friend Dan's phone wasn't working very well, so I let him switch to one of my iPhones. So yeah, I've got a Shuffle 4G, Shuffle 2G, iPod Nano 5G. This is the one iPod Nano that actually had a camera on it. It's adorable. It records video at 240 pixels, 240p. It's an instant GIF maker. It's hilarious. So yeah, I got lots of stuff in here. You keep going. I don't know why I save it. There's not much really I have planned to do with it. There's even more tech back here. That's just one box. I've got a ton of other boxes full of stuff, but for the most part, that's it. Let's see where other stuff is. Oh yeah. God, I just destroyed all of it. Dang it. So yeah, that's about it. Lots of old stuff. I hate that they removed the 3D touch to open multitasker in iOS 11. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people were upset about that. I actually never got used to that. I'm maybe one of the traditional guys who was fine with just double tapping the home button. But obviously with the iPhone 10, I'm going to have to relearn and rethink everything. So, because now it's going to be a swipe up and hold in order to do multitasking, and I won't be used to that. But do you watch The Flash? I used to. I kind of fell out of it because I've been so busy. But yeah, that's a movie reviews question. I'm trying to make more. I'm going to try to get into more Talos' movie reviews on the movie reviews channel. We're so close to 1,000, you guys. Like, not even everyone in this live stream would have to subscribe to Talos movie reviews, and they would hit 1,000 over there. Come on, Dan's been working hard. He's been making reviews. He's been making vlogs. You should check it out. You should stream tomorrow. I might. I mean, if that means I don't have to make an edited video tomorrow for you guys, then that'd be easier for me. And it seems like a lot of people want me to react to the Google event. What do you expect from the Google event? A smaller version of Google Home and the Pixel 2 XL and the regular Pixel 2. And they look hilarious. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about them. Crackling sounds have been fixed. Great. I didn't know there were crackling sounds. Why are Apple products so expensive outside of USA? It's not because of Apple. It's because of the import tariffs your country puts on Apple, because they're not a company that is local to your your country's enterprise, which means that all of the businesses in your country have to compete now with businesses outside of your country in the U.S. So your government says, to make it more fair for the local businesses that are in our country, because we don't want a free market that relies entirely on the United States, we're going to raise the price on the competition that's outside of the country. That way you find the locally made products more affordable, I guess. So it's not Apple, it's the government. Well, yeah, and then there's Brexit, and that's a different thing. That's when they lower the value that lowered the value excuse me, of the pound, which means that Apple has to ask more money for that for it to be compensated, because what they do make fair is the profit margin, so that no matter where they sell the iPhone, profit margin will be the same in each country. But sadly, because of the governments or because of devaluing of currency, that means that the price for the customer keeps changing, but the profit margin for them is the same. Well, will I do an iPhone 10 pre-order stream? Well, I think it'll be a Thursday evening anyway, so I normally would be live. So yeah, I'll do an iPhone 10 pre-order stream. How many iPhone 10 are you going to buy? Buy 2 iPhone 10s so that you can sell it for a lot of money, because there's a lot of demand. Please. I don't think it'll be that easy. I don't think there's many people who are going to be willing to buy one late. And if they are going to buy it late, they don't want to pay more for it. It's already expensive. So I'm not anticipating that's going to work. I'm not going to buy 2 iPhone 10s. That's crazy. I'm just going to buy one. Besides, I don't really appreciate or like YouTubers who are going to buy extra iPhone 10s and then give them away. I find that kind of selfish, to be honest, because it means that, a giveaway is not a selfless act. YouTubers that do giveaways are getting something out of it. They're ensuring that you subscribe. First of all, they're getting you to click on their video because they're going to offer free stuff. They're saying they're getting instant views and likes. They're saying, follow me on this and like me here in comments. So they're getting your interaction. They're getting your attention for that. And when they say they're doing a giveaway, obviously they attract a whole lot more people. And to do that when so many people want the iPhone 10 and they're so low in supply, but people can afford them, I feel like it's kind of frustrating when YouTubers buy a bunch of them to say, okay, now I'm going to use all these iPhones that I just bought in order to raise the views, raise the subscribers on my channel, and give these away to free to people who can't pay for them or don't want to pay for them, even though there's a whole wide array of people who can pay for them but now have to wait a month because iPhone 10 was so high in demand. It doesn't seem fair to me. Or people who are going to buy them just to break them. That's going to happen. I'll try to, but I kind of want to make a video just explaining, hey, big tech YouTubers, the iPhone 8 is made fairly out of the same material of the iPhone 10. I mean, the 10 has stainless steel brackets, but that's not what's going to break. It's going to be the glass, and it's the same amount of glass as the iPhone 8. It's the same kind of glass. So do your drop tests on the 8 and consider that that's probably what the 10 is as well. Okay, please don't buy the iPhone 10, a bunch of them, just so you can drop them and break them, because they're very low in demand. They're very low, not in demand. They're very low in supply. They're crazy high in demand, which means a lot of people are going to be waiting for them, and yet here's a bunch of YouTubers destroying them. It's not fair. Yeah, there's going to be a ton of YouTubers that buy them just to throw them in water or just to destroy them, and that's all they'll be used for, or bend them. It's just dumb. Drew, do you wirelessly charge your Apple Watch? And if yes, what pad do you use? I have one that you have on your desk, and it doesn't work. Well, I never said that the Apple Watch Series 3 works with the Qi wireless standard. There was a news article that said it works with selective Qi wireless chargers, but I have tried them on both of the chargers I have, and they don't work, but they're obviously not from the selected ones. The Series 3 has never once been about being, I support Qi wireless charging. You know, they never said that. It'll work with AirPower, and I'm sure as more Qi wireless chargers are available, they may also support the Series 3, but the ones that charge the iPhone 8 do not also charge the Series 3. Sorry. Yes, everything Apple Pro will likely buy many, many iPhone 10s just to destroy them. Apple will bring back iPhone 3D Touch multitasking gesture in future iOS 11 update. Yeah, I saw that, but it's like, why did you remove it in the first place? I didn't find it very useful. I thought that was kind of crappy, but some people like it, so I guess they're bringing it back. Makes a search engine focus on privacy that could riot Google. I don't think Apple would make their own search engine. They would probably just rely on DuckDuckGo or Bing or whatever to be more secure or something. I don't know, but Google paid Apple a lot of money for Google to remain the default search engine on iPhones. So Apple needs money. They're a business. So when Google offers them $3 billion to do that, they're probably going to say yes. Okay, both iPhone 10 colors look great. Do you have a favorite? Yeah, I don't like the silver one as much. I know a lot of people like it, but I'm going to stick with the 10. The space gray one. I like the look of space gray. It'll match my ecosystem much better. When will you buy a Note 8 and compare it to the iPhone 10? Oh, yeah. I mean, I could. I feel like even if I bought it, I wouldn't really come to a different conclusion than that of which I already have. It's like, yes, the Note 8 has a very large display. It's very bright. It's very colorful. It's very nice. S Pen is there. Don't really use it. Don't really care. It has a headphone jack. Don't need that. USB-C, but again, I'm doing wireless challenge anyway. They both have dual optical image stabilization, but as you've seen in many YouTube videos, they've compared them, and even the iPhone 8 without dual OIS can do better in certain instances. So I'm completely sure that the iPhone 10 is probably going to have one of the best cameras in the world because they have OIS on the telephoto lens and better low light performance. So I don't know what much there is to say. If I bought a Note 8 and compared it to the iPhone 10, I don't think it would be that different. I don't think it'd be that exciting. I wish Israel can donate. That's all up to YouTube. I apologize. There's other ways to donate, guys. You still got, you can PayPal me. You can use Patreon. Those things typically support countries that don't support Super Chat. What colors do you wish existed for iOS devices? Well, obviously, the more the better. I think the iPhone 10 is going to get more colors as the year goes on and as it becomes more available. Like around April or May, it may start to end up being like you can walk into an Apple store without pre-ordering one and just pick up an iPhone 10. And I think they may bring back things like, there was a leak saying they were going to bring the new blush gold color that was on the 8 to the 10. They said that might happen down the road later on. They might make a product red iPhone 10. That might happen later on. I'd like to see all kinds of different colors would be neat. A product red 10 would look really cool, as long as the bezels are still black. If they did a blue one, sure, why not? You know, it could just be a big middle finger to the Google Pixel. It's like, we're better. Maybe a completely black one that's not space gray, a jet black iPhone 10, that would be kind of cool. A ceramic one that's made out of the same material the Series 3 edition is, that would be neat. All kinds of designs. I agree. People buying the iPhone 10 to drop test and throw them in water are just stupid. I will sure to mock them on the channel. Well, it's just, don't mock them. I just think it's kind of inconsiderate when you consider how many people are trying to buy this thing and how many people are going to have to wait months and months and months to get their hands on an iPhone 10, and yet you have all these YouTubers buying them up and just destroying them. And build-wise, they're not that much different from the 8. So it's like, you know, there's tons of iPhone 8s out there, Tech Racks and everything, Apple Pro. Drop those, bend those, destroy them. They're not that high in demand. They have tons of them in supply. And build-wise, they're almost identical to the 10. I mean, as in terms of glass and in terms of what type of glass it is. So I don't see a need for everyone to drop them and destroy them. Isn't it funny how the iPhone 7 had more colors than the 5C, but never got the C in its name? Yeah, I mean, the 7, I think they were diversifying a lot because the 7 sales were heavily affected by the hype for the iPhone 10, as in lots of people did not buy the iPhone 7 because they knew the 10 was coming out. So to encourage people to buy the 7 and to get more people to buy the 7, that's why they did like the product red announcement and why they had so many different colors for the 7. But obviously the new iPhones this year are a lot harder to make, both the 8 and the 10, so that's why there's not as many colors. But similar to the 7, I think they will add more colors down the road. We'll see more colors. Do you think that iOS updates are more to slow the operating system so that you are feeling forced to upgrade? I don't think that's intentional, because if you look at things like macOS, they send out updates that make the computer much faster. So it's not necessarily that Apple always wants you to buy a new thing, although who knows, maybe that is possible. This is all a theory. We can't prove or disprove this. But what I think is like, you only have like 3 to 4 months to design the next generation iPhone. Then you have to start working on how you make a billion of them. And when you make a phone that quickly and you want it to last, but there's really no way of testing it to make sure it lasts years and years, you can just make it as best as you can. Like iPhone 5S, for instance, is much slower on iOS 11. When they start making the operating system do much more and be capable of much more and support more things on the App Store, and you're putting that on hardware that's years and years old, obviously that's going to slow it down. It was not designed for that. When they built the 5S, it did not have the hardware prepared for the iOS 11. That was not prepared for. So yes, it can support it, but yeah, it's going to slow it down because it wasn't designed for it. iOS 11, I'm sure, is a lot more demanding. It's asking for a lot more for something that was built to run, what was it, iOS 9 or 8? Like, that's what the 5S was designed for. So when you keep refreshing the OS over and over and over again, obviously, yeah, it's going to slow it down. That's my theory. Of course, maybe Apple is slowing it down, so you'll buy a new one, but I think that the iPhone's going to slow down regardless whether or not you update it. iOS 11 obviously may slow it down more because that's a futuristic update and it's asking a lot more from the hardware. But yeah, eventually you're going to have to buy a new one. Why do you hate Nintendo? Well, for one, when you live stream their games, they say you can't make any money. So I, first of all, think that's kind of a jerk thing to do. They were like very mad at Let's Players and YouTubers for playing their games on YouTube and live streaming them, and they instantly put copyright claims on them just for showing gameplay from their game. So that's kind of a jerk thing. But I don't necessarily hate them. I just don't think the Switch is very useful if you're not a huge Nintendo fan. If you're a huge fan of Nintendo's games, like you diehard love Breath of the Wild and you love Mario, then yeah, the Switch is useful. But if you're not a diehard fan of Nintendo, then the Switch is pointless. It can't do anything better than the devices I already have. It's entirely just a Zelda and Mario machine. So if you love those games so much that you're willing to pay over $400 for them, then by all means, they're worth it. But to me, $400 for a game, not worth it. Andro2503, thank you for your donation. Says, I just bought AirPods a little while ago, and I'm super happy with them. My question, are the other Taylosa people Apple sheep as well? No. Not all of them. Xander is. Xander and I kind of became friends because we were both Apple sheep. So he was really into Apple stuff before I was. Not before I was, but before I met him. And then when we were in high school together, we realized we both really liked it, and that's why we started hanging out. Dan uses Apple products, but just because they work, he has no blind loyalty to them. He uses an iPhone 5, so it's very old. He's by no means a sheep. And he uses a 2015 MacBook Pro. So he likes both, but he's definitely not like, you must buy Apple. He is indifferent about it. And so is Wyatt. Wyatt is also kind of indifferent. He's like, if someone gave me an iPhone for free, I would use it. If someone wanted me to use an iMac or a MacBook, I would use it. But because currently he has a Galaxy Note 5, he's fine with that. He doesn't hate Android. If someone offered him a free Android phone, he would also use that. So Wyatt and Dan are indifferent. Why did your MKBHD collab video not get many views? I don't know. Why doesn't anything get many views? It's not like there was a better alternative. Marquez offered 1 hour of his time, and he wasn't really willing to record video of his side of the conversation. He was just like, I'm going to sit down with you and talk for an hour, and that's it. That's all I had to work with. I asked him to record his side of the conversation with a camera and a microphone, and right when I called him, he wasn't doing that, and he was like, no, I can't do that, but I can record my audio. So he offered to record his audio, and that was it. So I was like, last minute idea. I grabbed my other DSLR camera, pointed it at the MacBook, and we just started. Because I only had an hour to talk with him. It wasn't like I could ask him to do can you record your side of the conversation, and then we'll cut back to me doing my regular text stick, and we'll cut back and forth. So I did the best of what I did the best I could with what I had. It wasn't like there was a better alternative. My MKBHD video that was directed towards him is the most viewed video I ever made. So that got a lot of views, even though he wasn't in it. But, yeah, the videos themselves, I guess people, I don't know, maybe they didn't find that interesting. Maybe they found it more of a MKBHD video than a Talos of Tech video. Maybe they wanted me to be more mad at him for some reason, but I wasn't going to do that. So I'm not saying, all I'm saying is that there wasn't a better case scenario I could have done. I did the best I can. I did the best I could. Do you think foldable smartphones are just a gimmick or the next big thing? I think that foldable tech in general is something people think they want until they try it and then they realize they wouldn't want it. It's not that practical to have something that folds up. It's kind of nice to be able to hold this, and it can be structurally sound. It can be rigid. It's easier to put in your pocket than something that would flex and fold around. But it sounds cool, so people think it'll be the next big thing. It's like, I'll have a phone that can fold out into a tablet and then use it that way. It's something I think people think they want, but once they try it, they wouldn't like it. I see a lot of people complaining about that, so let me fix it. Okay. Which company is closest to making or trying to make an ecosystem like Apple? Well, closest, I would probably say Samsung, because I can't think of another company that makes an ecosystem that extensively. I guess the third one would be Google, but they don't really come close because they're not really trying with tablets. They're not really trying with laptops or desktops. The tablet market for Google is a joke. They made the Pixel C. They're still selling the Pixel C, and they haven't updated it in like 4 or 5 years. It's been around for a long time, and it's not that good. No one buys it. Yeah. No, Superman's banned, guys. Don't worry about it. And Samsung at least does make pretty good tablets. I mean, they don't by no means compete with the iPad, but they make a tablet that runs Windows 10, and they also make a tablet that runs Android. So Samsung's the closest, but they don't design any of their software, so it's definitely not the same thing as that. Samsung is actually bigger than Apple, but still worse than Apple. Well, how do you define bigger? Because it's like Apple makes more money than Samsung does, but Samsung sells more phones. I don't know how you dictate which is bigger. I think Apple does more than Samsung. Like the average price of an iPhone sold overall, like if we're talking original iPhone all the way up to iPhone 10, average price of an iPhone is a little bit under $700. And in terms of Samsung phones, all of the Galaxy phones and all of the phones they sell overseas, the average price is $200. So per sale of iPhone, Apple makes over 3 times what Samsung makes. But yeah, so how do you dictate which company is bigger or more successful? It depends on your definition of a success. Obi says, is now a bad time to buy the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, or should I wait for the next iPad? No, it's still pretty new because it came out in June and it's now October. So you're 4 months in. I'd say it's still safe. It's still safe to buy an iPad right now. I wouldn't be afraid to. Unless you're very concerned about the next one having wireless charging, which again, there's been no leaks of that. There's been no proof that the next one's going to have wireless charging. It's entirely a theory, but we don't know. We'll see. Jason donated, says, Drew, I'm not sure if I should buy an Apple Watch Series 3 non-LTE. I haven't had any Apple Watch yet. Is it worth it, and should I or should I not? Well, keep in mind, you could be buying the Series 3 with cellular just for the extra storage. So first of all, you don't have to activate the cellular option on the LTE watch if you get it. You can choose to set that up later. So if you buy the non-cellular, you don't have that option down the road. And the storage option will be smaller. You'll have an 8 gigabyte Apple Watch opposed to a 16. So you can put more music and more pictures on it or whatever. So that's why I would recommend people get the LTE, because then you don't have to necessarily activate cellular right away, but if you want to down the road, you'll have that option. Whereas if you get non-LTE, you won't have that option. Also, if you get it with LTE, you'll have twice the storage. So yeah, it costs more money, but you have more options down the road. And I personally think that cellular is worth it. I like being able to leave my phone at home. You'll get the non-LTE and be like, yeah, I don't really need to leave my phone behind that much. But then there will be that 1 or 2 times where you're like, if I would have paid the extra for that cellular, this could have worked out. Marvel or DC? Are we talking movies or comic books? Yeah, Marvel films, DC TV. Tom's got it down. We talk about this on Taylosive Movie Reviews a lot. You should check that out. Are there going to be new AirPods? Is it just a new case? I want to get them, but not if there's a new model or new case for the same price coming soon. It won't be soon. At earliest, the new AirPods will be available in March. So if the wireless charging thing's a big problem, and no, I don't know if it's just a case. It doesn't sound like they invented new AirPods themselves. Maybe the case has a W2 chip, or maybe the new AirPods have a W2 chip. I don't know. They didn't talk much about it, so obviously no one knows that much about it. But the soonest we're going to get them is March 2018. So it's going to be a while. So go ahead. Buy the AirPods now. They're available. You can pretty much walk into any Apple store or Target or Best Buy. They'll typically have them there, and you can get them. It'll be just fine. Why do we need an ecosystem when our phones can do almost everything a PC can? Shouldn't we push one device that does everything like Google and Samsung? No, because I highly disagree with the statement that our phones can do everything a PC can. I mean, first of all, you can't edit high-res video on professional-grade editing software on a MacBook. I definitely don't recommend it on a phone. You can do a lot of cool things on an iPad now, and they're becoming more and more functional. But a lot of people want more screen space. You know, they want a big window so they can have YouTube and be texting at the same time. On an iPad, that's very convenient. On an Android, I think it's terrible. I've done the split screen thing on my Android phones when I reviewed them. It's not very functional because every time you bring up the keyboard, you cover half your screen. You cover half the content you're looking at. It's too cramped. I definitely don't want to make the argument that the smartphones can do everything now and you don't need an ecosystem. Not true at all. Having this be able to do some light gaming and also do some heavy style editing is amazing. And then having my iPad for doing multiple consumer tech at the same time. I use my iPad every morning to watch live streams and also to respond to emails. Having that extra screen space is very, very nice. And no, you wouldn't get a paralleled experience on a Galaxy Note phone. And while my iPhone is really portable, so I can take that with me, and it has a great camera. Apple Watch I can take with me all by myself if I'm traveling light and I still need notifications. Ecosystem's better. I don't think you should try to make the argument that you don't need an ecosystem. Another donation from Obi, thank you very much, says, what's the point of Apple Care if you get your watch replaced for free? Is the money going to be taken out instantly when you pre-order the iPhone 10? No, typically they charge your card as soon as the pickup is available or as soon as your item ships. So not when you pre-order it, no. And the point of Apple Care is Apple Care supports the product for 2 years, whereas the in-store warranty covers it for 1 year. And also, there's certain things that won't be covered by your warranty. Like, for instance, if one of your AirPods just starts being quieter, that's a defect. That's like something's wrong with the AirPods. So your warranty will cover that. If you contact Apple customer support and say, hey, one of my AirPods is quieter, they will send you a new one for free. If you do something like throw it in water or you throw your phone on the ground and crack the screen and you didn't get Apple Care, they're not going to cover that instantly. they're not going to cover that for free. Whereas on the Apple Watch, it will be cheaper if it's in warranty, but it won't be free. Whereas if you get Apple Care, that supports it for 2 years. And if you do something that's out of warranty, so like for instance, you throw your AirPods in water and they stop working, you throw your phone against the wall and it cracks the screen, they will replace that. That's what Apple Care covers. It will charge a little bit, but not that much. That's what you're paying for, is a cheaper repair or replacement. Anyway, guys, we're coming up on our hour here, so if there's any last donations or comments or questions, now's the time to ask them. We're going to be wrapping it up here. Oh, crap, I just clicked something. What did I click? I closed the chat on accident. Let me get right back. Let me open it real quick. Sorry. Congrats on 50,000 subscribers. Well, thank you. I'm really excited for maybe being able to hit 100,000 when we get to get the silver play button. That'd be really cool in the studio. I'm also really excited because it sounds like, given to Social Blade's estimates, it is possible that we could hit 100,000 subscribers on my birthday, which would be really fun. That'd be like and I'll be turning 20 in February. So it'd be a really easy statistic to remember for like the rest of my YouTube career, that I hit 100,000 subscribers right when I turned 20. I think that'd be a cool statistic to remember. Congrats, 51,000. That's right. We're already halfway through 51,000. We'll get to 52,000. You'll hit 100,000 in March. Well, they can be wrong. Social Blade guessed a lot of things incorrectly in the past, so I'm saying they're saying 100,000 in March, but that can change depending on the growth of the channel. It'll all change. It's possible if I push myself and if you guys are generous with the sharing of the channel and the videos. If I pre-order the 10 and I'm not one of the first to order it, can I cancel the pre-order? Yeah, you can cancel anything. Like even if it's the day of your pickup, it's the day you're supposed to pick up your iPhone at an Apple store, you can still cancel it like an hour before. Any 50,000 special? No, I talked about in my last special, the 10,000 subscriber special. I do a special video, a special announcement or prize or whatever, when we add a digit. So 100,000, yes, you'll get something big, but 50,000, while that's cool, it's not adding a digit. WTF, you're 20? No, I'm 19. I'm not 20. I'm 19 years old right now. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your comments and questions. We're just about out of time. I forgot to plug in the camera. The battery's about to die. Thank you for all your donations. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.